It's been a while since I've done one of these. This is in response to the video how I woke up as a 35-year-old loser. As somebody turning 35 on Friday, being the 19th of the 1990, yeah man, I felt some of what that bloke was talking about. I'm obviously from Melbourne, Australia, different part of the world, but what he said, resonated with me. I saw a part of me in the video, but I also had a few things to sort of say. Some parts about me, others about his situation, but for a lot of us between the ages of 20 to 30, I'm talking from my experience, it was a bit of a blur. Probably too much drinking, smoking. I never really smoked a lot of pot. It didn't sit well with me. But I only became what I would call sentient at like age 27 or 30 even, because you would go out with your friends, you'd get drunk or pissed, as I would call it, and nurse your hangover, mask your feelings, go back to work, spend the rest of the week sort of recovering. Usually come good by about Monday. So there wasn't a whole lot of interesting things. Life was punctuated by traveling overseas. Maybe you'd get a girlfriend, maybe you'd get a raise at work. I definitely did have a lot of grandiose ideas, and what I found was that the more I talked about my ideas with people, so for example, you're having a coffee with them, the more they didn't come true, because I would feel satiated in expressing my thoughts and feelings about a potential subject matter or an idea that I had, a business idea, and then I would be like content and satisfied that I've unleashed it, and it would zap a lot of my creative energy. So I realized that in my 20s, etc. So now that I'm 34, turning 35, you got a crazy car outside. Now that I'm 34, turning 35, there's a fair bit to unravel with habits and thought processes, etc. I think that during COVID, the social isolation, at the start, it's really nice to finally have some time to yourself. But like anything, as time goes on and you isolate yourself more, you just get used to it. And then you find when you do have to go to an event that it's quite difficult because you are having negative thoughts, you're stuck in a loop, you could be spiraling. But from what I've learned in the last couple of years, it's about exercising that muscle, and don't let yourself go down too deep down the rabbit hole, which segues into the next part, which is the rabbit hole. So everybody uses Reddit. You'd use Facebook for Facebook Messenger and Marketplace, but if you're looking for something, you'll be able to find it. Twin flames, if you know what that is, or comparing your net worth with somebody else. Man, you can find it on Reddit. Anything you're looking for, you'll find it with somebody that has an opinion, that kind of agrees with your thought process, and you can go down that path. So what I noticed with watching the video is that he's got a lot of thoughts, and he feels like it's too late to start something. It's like too late. And I see that sort of symptomatic as to being a consumer and not a creator. It's very hard to create something. It's easy to consume. So saying to yourself, oh, well, you know, it's too late for me, I'll be too old, I won't really be able to study or anything like that. Well, you're still going to be that age in 4 years' time, regardless of whether you have a degree or not, or you want to study something new. And in all that time, are you creating the life for yourself, or are you just consuming content from other people, and, you know, in that sort of negative loop on Reddit threads, people that are agreeing with your thought process? So because of my habits in my 20s, it led to health issues. I won't go into it too much, but you know, I got diagnosed with diverticulitis. I've had some pretty major surgery to cut out part of my intestine. They found a little lesion which could lead to cancer later on. When I was burning out, working on different business ventures, I developed alopecia, which is a bald spot in the back of your head. That's part of the reason why I keep my hair long. I don't have alopecia now, but it's just something that I like to have long hair anyway. And then when I would go through a lot of stress, not even work related, just life and stress of my own doing, I would develop a lymphoma, which is just a fatty tissue. It's like a little rubbery lump, etc. And I've had surgery multiple times to get rid of it and everything like that. So just give me a sec. I'll just double check that this is working. Yeah, cool. It's been a while since I've made a video. You know, I've got another YouTube channel which I would do marketing bits and pieces, but a couple of the videos that I've made, you know, were 4 years ago. I logged into my account and one of them had 47,000 views. I had no idea, you know. So I put that video out in the world a long time ago, and only now am I sort of circling back to it. It's the same sort of thing that this bloke's saying, that if you had focused on something and kept it going, that maybe it would have been something bigger. Well, you can still do that now, you know. It really, all it takes is basically 4 weeks of doing something. You feel like a new person after those 4 weeks. You know, it doesn't take a long time to feel different in your own mind and your own skin. So just finishing off sort of talking about myself, you know, I'm blessed, I'm married and I've got a child and I've got another one on the way. But walking past me on the street, you wouldn't know that I'm into heavy music. You wouldn't think that I run a business, you know, or that I'm into, you know, running, etc. So everybody's in the same boat with complexity, and they've all got their own issues. So why I think everybody has gotten excited about the video that you made was that people like seeing the underdog, and it's like you're on the starting blocks of a race. People are excited to see where you go from here. So not turning this into a business meeting or anything, but you know, the type of videos that I would like you to make would be, you know, the everyman video, the journey from you at 35 to you at 36 or 37. Well, what are your goals? Are you going to continue to sit here and just talk to the camera? Are you going to take the camera on your adventure to your next job interview? Obviously not at the interview, but You know, like what's your story going to be? Because when I talk to older people, it seems like their life is so coloured. They have so many different chapters. Oh, well, I did this for 5 years, and then I built a house with spare timber I found on the side of the road by the river. Oh, and then I fished, and then I suddenly decided to work on a boat for 2 years. And I feel that, especially with the cost of living, maybe they're embellishing their stories, but you get what I'm saying. Like, you know, for a lot of us in this generation, it's like you just work, you subscribe to a bunch of different things, because everything's subscription based now. You might have an old school car, and you know, but like, where's the real adventure? So the reason why people are excited about your story is that you're on the starting blocks, like, you know, regardless of your age, and that's exciting to see. You could come down to Melbourne, Australia, and you could get a job and experience the cost of living down here. Bring your GoPro or your camera with you, and I think people would find that humorous, or you know, you'd like to watch something like that. But I think that your best bet, in my personal opinion, is the everyman type of video where, you know, it's relatable, it's funny, you're eloquent with your words, you don't say and ah, you're cohesive with your thoughts. And as you ease into staring into the camera, you realize it's not a conversation that you're having, but you're just blurting out your thoughts, a verbal diarrhea onto the camera, which as time goes on becomes easier and easier. So anyway, circling back to me, so, you know, 33 was a tough year. I lost a close friend to not good circumstances. I had other friends that went through mental health issues. I involved myself too deeply in all of that, and it then caused me issues with anxiety and thinking that whenever my phone was going to ring, I was going to receive some bad news. I never went on any medication for any of that, but I did see a therapist for, you know, over a year, and that's helped greatly. But I'm still going through it. You know, I'm not as zesty as what I was. I'm maybe not as manic with all my ideas and wanting to achieve everything and nothing at the same time. But I will say, however, that, you know, life does have complexities. I mentioned before that I've got one child, but did I mention that I've also gone through an IVF journey for the last 7 years? Jesus Christ, 7 years. I'm talking like 2 cycles, 10 transfers, 2 miscarriages, and it's been such a long process that it's like it wears you down, and you don't feel happy or excited about the process anymore. I've changed doctors because I just didn't like the doctor at the end of the day, and it was hilarious because the reason why I didn't like him is because one time I saw him wearing socks and it had his name on the sock. And I'm like, I just couldn't get with it. It sounds so stupid, but you know, to continue through that process has been very difficult mentally. So I've got another one on the way, and I'm happy about that. But when I had my first at 31, I realised how ill-equipped I was with my coping mechanisms. It was just a schmozzle, honestly was. And I would say that to my wife, that like most kids my age, you just, you know, you just got drunk too often, and you never sat with yourself to work out what you were really like. And then when you have a big event like that, I just continued to drink. Yeah, I had a problem with alcohol, and then I'd smoke as well, or vape. And you're just masking things in your mood. The biggest thing about having children is trying to keep your mood relatively steady. If you're up and down all the time, your partner's not going to have a good time, you're not going to have a good time, you know, it just makes it a total shit show. So here I was, still working a million hours, thinking that I had to do all these things that were important in my head when they weren't. And I was literally just running around, not taking care of myself. So it basically took a year or two up until which my good mate passed away for me to reassess things. So now I don't really drink much because it's not compatible with my lifestyle. I don't really smoke anymore. I smoked maybe a week ago because a buddy of mine, we went to an event and it just gave me a headache because I'm not used to smoking anymore. So I've given that a miss. And in place for that, I've just tried to increase my good habits, which is reverting to how I was when I was younger. I used to like running and sports. So since the 4th of Jan, I have gone to my local park run. And park run, for those of you that don't know, is just you rock up on a Saturday morning at 8 a.m. and then you run 5Ks with other people. And you can race, you can walk, you can do whatever you want to do. But I've done that pretty consistently throughout the whole year. And it's been good for my mental health and to stretch my muscles in terms of trying to eliminate social anxiety, etc. So it's fun to PB, it's fun to try to lose a bit of weight, even though I haven't been losing much weight because my diet's still been poor. But it's been a really positive thing, helps me clarify my thoughts. I know there's a joke going around that, when you turn 35, that, your midlife crisis because you can't afford anything is actually just doing a marathon, which is kind of true, to be honest. So I hope you like my mug as well. President of the shit show. Some days it's President Shit Show, being me. But anyway. So 35. Actually, I wrote something down yesterday, and I didn't mean to sort of. I just wrote it down on my computer, and it doesn't. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Anyway, so I'm slightly bored, but I'm not depressed. I'm a bit overstimulated, but I'm looking for something to do. I have exciting things happening, but not really excited about anything. I always want to do more. No, I'm doing too much. And I think those feelings happen when you're at 35 and you feel like you're behind the 8 ball. You feel like you need to be zesty and you need to grind things out. I just wrote those words on a document because that's just the way I was feeling. But anyway, let's circle back to Snooks. I think that's his name, Snooks. So he was talking about his options shrinking. I sort of touched on that before about you're going to be that age anyway, so you might as well just give it a shot. Be good if you brought your camera with you, mate, because then people would get to see your progression, and I think that could be a really good thing. So for example, I feel you might have seen an amp in the background. I'm into my heavy music and I think I can't start a band. I can't write any music because I've aged out of it. But you could always find examples where you can find an artist that's older than you, albeit they've been doing it for a long time, but it's certainly possible. I mean, a perfect example, if you're into heavy music, is the Acacia Strain. I mean, those guys are aging gracefully, or Parkway Drive, or anybody that's been in the scene for a long time. They call it dad rock now. So, and again, I want to impress upon you that if you try something for 4 weeks, like properly, you're going to feel like a new man. Also, when you're trying something, if you can reduce your friction point to actually doing it, then that's going to be a good thing. A perfect example would be if you're planning on exercising or going to the gym the next day in the morning, just lay your clothes out on the couch so you've got them there. And so, because the last thing you want is to be looking for a clean pair of jocks or socks or whatever, and you're like, I can't be bothered doing this, I just want to go back to bed. Whereas at least if your stuff's laid out, you're like, yep, all right, well, all I've got to do is put this on, your car keys and your wallet are sitting on your t-shirt, and you just go. Get in the car, You have your sports bag already packed in the car, you know, all those kind of things. Reducing the friction point means that you might actually do what you set out to do. So second point I want to make is you just need to show up. So for example, you're applying for new jobs, etc. You know, the way I think about it is that sometimes if you really want a job, you know, and you're applying on Indeed and stuff like that, I mean, if you really needed a job, I mean, you could go down to the industrial estate. I'm dead serious. Like, I've seen people do it and that's fine. Go to your local industrial estate with a one piece of paper, like your resume. Just walk in and say, oh, I'm looking for a job. I'm available now. Here's my resume. If I can meet with your managing director or somebody in charge, I'd like to just take 2 minutes of your time. You know, doing that would actually not cause you, it causes you anxiety to walk in, but like you're in control of the situation. To if it doesn't work out, you walk straight out the door. But you know how like you're applying on Indeed and you're like, doing all these questionnaires. Well, it's the employer that has the power. You're shifting the focus. If you could get in and you speak to the MD right then and there, you're controlling the narrative. Well, I'm here right now. I've shown up. I want a job. Can I start? What do you need me to do? And you're marketable. You've got, you know, skills and corporate experience. Why can't you handle the social media? You can learn it as you go. Why can't you answer the phones? You can speak well, you know? So all those kind of things. Like, you might meet a character that likes that you've done something like that and takes you under their wing, and suddenly you're a protege, and tell me how you feel in 4 weeks' time. You'd be like, oh, my boss is an awesome guy and he loves that I had balls to go do something like this. Fuck it, let's just run with it. That's great. So the third point is that I don't think you're lazy. I just think you're unmotivated. I think that you just haven't found quite what you want to do. You know, you're just doing these jobs, and you talk about now nepotism and retail jobs, etc. I mean, there's so many different things out there. You know, you can be a luthier. You can build guitars if you wanted to. You can do a bit of manual labor. Sometimes doing menial tasks is phenomenal. Not all the time, but like a half and half scenario where you're throwing shit into a skip bin and that's fun, and then the next minute you're doing something else. So if you can find what works for you, then that'd be really good. So probably the last point I want to make is just reframing your situation. You know, again, you're on the starting blocks. That's sick. Yeah, you know how cool that is? Like, you can do anything that you want to do. Okay, the age, 35, oofed, you know, that's rough. Well, I'm 35 too, man, you know, it doesn't feel that great. I'm wondering where all these years went, but you're gonna be 36, you're gonna be 38 anyway, you're gonna be 40, you know, you got this opportunity with your audience. So if you reframe your situation and go, damn, dog, like, you're on the ground level, that's sick. People would love to start again, and you know, but they have these hang-ups. Oh man, I'm divorced and I've got a kid, and I really want to do this, but I can't travel. You can do what you want to do, you know, but you've just got to reframe your situation. Anyway, that's it from me. It doesn't matter whether this video gets any views or not. You know, it's my birthday coming up on Friday. I just wanted to turn from a consumer, like staring at my phone, scrolling. This was enough for me to turn on the camera and be like, yeah man, I've got a few things to say. I don't know how it's going to go with the editing side of things. It's a bit clunky. I got the lapel mic. I'm looking at my voice recording on my iPhone, hoping I can marry everything up. But I mean, you know, thank you for at least giving me the motivation to turn on the camera and get it out there. And yeah, man, you know, 35, it's shit, dog. 35, I feel like I'm 25 or 28, you know what I mean? So lucky you got a baby face. Cheers, brother.